Hello, everyone. It is Let's Talk Tuesday. We are here once again. Another week. We got our music bumping over here. Yes. Yay. Hi. Hello. Let us know if you're here with us on Facebook Live. It is, what is today? June 30th. June 30th. We are here in the house. Hi, Tangi. Hi, it's good to see you. Hello. If anybody's out there, come join us. We have a good topic tonight or this evening. Let us know. First, we want to say hello to everybody. So if you're in the chat, just say hello. Let us know that you're in the house. Hey, hello. Let us know that you are out there. Hey, Sister Latoya, good evening. She said, good evening, Lady Lee and Pastor Lee. Hello. Hi. Oh, Sister Wortham is on. Good evening. She didn't have to work today. That's one working woman. She works hard. Reverend Seward, hello. Good evening. Hello. How is everybody? Reverend Phillips, hello. She is in the house. She just got finished celebrating her husband's birthday. Amen. Happy birthday again to Reverend Phillips. Sister Tammy's in the house and Deacon Casey is in the house. Hello. Sister Andrea is joining us from New York. Good evening. I'm sure she's working right now. We have Reverend James Brown. That's my brother from Atlantic City, New Jersey, joining us. Good evening. Sister Samples in the house with Brother Melvin. Hello. Hi, everybody. Sister Dale is in the house. Hey, Sister Dale. And Brother Albert Clark is here with us. Hello. And Reverend Phillips said, yes, we just chilled out. I'm sure you did chill out. Oh, Sister Andrea says she is off today. All right. Well, that's good. Well, we just want to say hello to everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us one more time. As the older people used to say, one more time. So we are so thankful to be able to be here. Do we have any announcements in the beginning? We're going to talk about this stuff in the beginning because we got a topic that's might be just a little heavy. I don't know if y'all are prepared for it tonight, but I know as I did my research, I was getting a little sad about some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. But it's a conversation that we definitely need to have. It's everywhere. It's in every church. It could be in every home. It could be in every business. It could be on your job. It can be so many different venues in different avenues. Sister Valerie Armstead is in the house. Thank you for joining us. Good evening. Hello. Tonight we are talking about mental illness in the church. Mental illness in the church. And I was really shocked to know as I was doing some research on it, that 1 in 5 people suffer from a mental illness. Did anybody know that? Let us know in the chat. Let us know if you knew that information because it was shocking to me. Hey, Sister Robin Lindsay is joining us from Philly, the land of Philly, Philadelphia. Hey, how are you? 1 in 5. Sister Javette, hello, good evening. And she said, another great topic. Yes, I've been trying to pick good topics, something to get us talking, get our juices flowing, get our conversations going on and everything. So I'm thankful for all those that send in topics for us to talk about. I'm telling you, I think I have enough topics to last probably until the end of the year, definitely. But I'm always looking for more because I can push some back to maybe the year 2021. Yes, we are going to continue doing our live feed. I just think it's something that the people love and we love it as well. Sometimes I'm tired. Like today I had to go to work, but you know, it is what it is, but it's not about me. It's about you, who it is. So we're going to keep it going. Yes, the number, Brother Clark said, I think that number is underreported. It's higher. You think it's higher?
1 out of 4.
Is it 1 in 4 now?
Yep.
1 in 4. Pastor said it's 1 in 4. I just pulled it up and I did some statistics and everything, and they said it was 1 in 5. So it might be 1 in 4, especially since COVID-19 crisis came through. It could be 1 in 3. Who knows? But definitely, you said 1 in 4. Between 1 and 4. So I was really shocked to hear that. Reverend Phillips said, yes, it can run in families, and African American families have a tendency to be in denial. That's true. That is really true. We must use the word of God to deal with it. It is not about a pill all of the time. You're so right. You're so right. And we're going to talk about some of those things as well. Hey, Sister Pat. Sister Pat Chu is in the house. Good evening. Sister Latanya Maiden, good evening. Hello, hello. Just want to say hello to everybody. Yes, it definitely runs in the African American families. It runs in everybody, in every race there is. But I pulled information that says just how many different mental illnesses there are, because people think that a lot of times it's just about depression or schizophrenia or something like that. And this is the research that I found. And money talks out there. So this is what I got. The different mental illnesses that are out there can consist of addiction. And there's many addictions. There's alcohol addiction. There's porn addiction.
Shopping.
Ooh, did he go there? Did Pastor go there and say?
Shopping is an addiction.
Did Pastor go there and say a shopping addiction, y'all? You ain't talking about me though, right?
No, I'm just saying shopping is an addiction.
All right. He said
gaming is an addiction.
Gaming is an addiction. All these video games is an addiction.
It can become.
It can become one. But anyway, so I found Brain and Behavior, which is a resource foundation. Brother Clark says some mental illness is mistaken for other. Yes, you're sure. You are right about that. Sister Andre said, oh, not shopping. It can become a problem if the Amazon man keep coming to your house every day. All right. That might be a problem.
It's not a problem if you can afford it. It's the problem when you can't afford it and you're going in debt and you're drowning and you're about to lose everything and can't stop.
Sister Robin said eating disorders. Yep, that's one too. So these are the addictions that they consider that could be mental illness. And this is how much money is going to each one. So however the amount of money that's going to it, you can tell which they deem more serious than others. That's how I'm going to put it. They deem these particular ones to be really serious. Okay, here we go. Addiction, and like I said, that could be alcohol and different addictions. That they allocate 7 million to addiction. That's a lot of money. ADD is attention deficit disorder. That's 3 million. Now that might be good information for our educators out there that's dealing with ADD, students and things like that. 3 million to ADD. The next one, anxiety. Anxiety is 9 million. That's how much they allocate to anxiety. Autism, 11 million. That's a lot of money going to autism. Bipolar. Anyone that knows somebody that's bipolar, they're allocating 31 million. That's a lot of money. 31 million. Borderline personality disorder. They only get 1 million. 1 million. That's borderline personality disorders. Depression, 89 million. That's a lot of money going to depression, y'all. Eating disorders, 2 million. Sister Robin Lindsay just said eating disorders, yes. They're only getting 2 million of the cut. Obsessive compulsive disorder. That's 4 million. That's the OCD. You know, when you got to have certain things a certain way, and you got to rub the doorknob sometimes and check the doorknob 3 and 4 times and things like that. Brother Clark said, did you say gambling addiction? That's part of addiction, gambling. We did say gambling. We have post-traumatic stress disorder. That's PTSD. Some of our service men and women deal with PTSD a lot. We're hearing a lot about that. They only get 9 million of the money. 9 million that is going to this Brain and Behavior Research Foundation, which is in New York, New York. This is a major foundation that deals with different disorders. This is what they get. The money that they get. Schizophrenia. You're not going to believe this. I thought depression would be higher than this one, but schizophrenia is 150 million to schizophrenia. And then 65 million goes to other mental illness that is in general. That's like lumping a whole lot of different things together. So I know when we're talking, y'all are on a little bit of a delay. So that's why I was going really slow to get that information out. Reverend Phillips said, no, ADD has gotten our kids on drugs. A lot of them need more structure at home. Parents think saying he or she is ADD is cute. It is from the enemy to get Black kids on drugs. Some kids just need to focus. That's what she said. And she's an educator, a great educator in a nearby city. I'm not going to say where because I don't want y'all tracing her down and trying to find her and everything. But she is an educator with our children. So she sees a lot of the ADD going on. And I have a story with my son had ADD when he was growing up, or that's what
They misdiagnose people. Most African American children are misdiagnosed. They
Yeah.
just label them AD or ATD or ADD.
ADD.
ADD. All right.
And then they have an ADHD that has the
'Cause
hyper in it.
Our oldest son was diagnosed, and the next one, and both of them got their masters. Or one's working on their masters, going to college, and all they had to do was pay some time. And as soon as we shift them in different schools, their attitude changed.
And I did have my son on what they call it,
Ritalin.
Ritalin. That was back in the day, Ritalin. I did have him on Ritalin for a little while, but I saw how he just wasn't functioning really well on the Ritalin. He was just staring out, and it had too much control over him. And so I decided myself, I didn't ask the doctors or nothing. I decided to take him off and eliminate different things in his food, in his diet, in his drinking. I took away the dyes, those juicy juices that got those hugs that come in different colors, blue and green and red. I eliminated and did some research that said that some of the dyes aren't good for our children's brains. So I took that away. And like Pastor said, he got his master's degree. He's getting ready to go into his PhD program. And who was that? Isaiah?
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah was also diagnosed, and he's in law school now. So we as parents have to be proactive in our kids and not automatically have a wonder pill and just say, you know what, this wonder pill is going to help them get through, because we don't want to do what we need to do. And that is just take time and be patient. Everything is so fast now. Kids got to be on task. 1, 2, 3. They got to do this within 10 minutes. They got to do this within 20 minutes. It's a time this and time that. And some kids just don't operate that way. Their minds don't operate that way. Sister Dell said, that's right. I agree. Reverend Michelle, I see it every day in our little ones. Yeah, they're starting up early. So we're talking about, Reverend Michelle said, it's not the numbers are disproportionate among our students when it comes to disabilities. They are quick to put Black males on drugs, whereas our counterparts use a holistic method. That's good information. What you gonna say, something?
No.
He sounded like he was about to say something. Sister Chu said, don't let them label our children. Once you label your child, that label stays with them. Don't let them tell you nothing different. It stays with them. They love to have labels on our children.
All right, so if our children, if they do that to our children, they become adults. What happens as they're adults? How do we deal with mental illness in church? Let's say it was never worked out, or we have people who don't know they have some mental issues. How do we deal with that? How do we recognize? How do you know some folks might have mental issues and don't know that they have them? Like pastors taking their lives and no one knew that the pastor was unhappy, going in the garage, sitting down, blowing his brains out, or pastor's son taking his life, or pastor's wife taking her life. And come to find out they had mental issues, couldn't deal with life at life terms. So how do we know that? How do we deal with that? Especially, I don't know if you heard this, that the trauma that African Americans go through watching all these young Black men and women get killed at the hands of police. They're saying that traumatizes us and we don't even know it, because we feel for the family, we feel for the victims, and it affects our everyday life. And one expert said it's like it's more dangerous than secondhand smoke. The trauma that African Americans go through watching all this happening, and we're not getting any help for it. And so people are getting depressed, people blood pressure is going up, people are overly don't know how to deal with it, and so it manifests itself in other ways. And if we're not careful, we'll take our own lives if we don't understand how to stay grounded and realize that it's okay to get help. Most of us don't want people to know or even think about going to counseling. And that's just natural in the African American culture. We need to shake that or get rid of that thought. And you always should try to get help to prevent you, because there's always to prevent you from doing something that might hurt yourself or hurt your family.
So the question out there to y'all is, how do we help? How do we recognize? How do we help someone that has mental illness? How can we help? What are things that we can do to help in the church? Reverend Phillips said counseling needs to be in the church, and honestly, secure in confidentiality. That's key. That is real key. We need referral services at church too. We were taught whatever happens in the home stays in the home. That's right. That's a good idea. And as I did research too, that was one of the main things that they said a lot of churches just don't have at this particular time is resources, a list of resources where people can go to get information about mental illness. That's something that we need to talk, even in our own church. We need to talk maybe to our health ministry and get some information. They said that just like diabetes, you get help for diabetes, you get help for blood pressure. Why can't we get help for mental illness? That's something that they also said. Brother Clark said, try to become a support system with positive recommendations and not necessarily be in agreement with what that person may say. So we have to listen. That's a main thing too, is listening to what people have to say. Sister Pat Chu said, take the shame of mental illness away, especially in the church. We need to have support groups. That's true, because, mental illness not too long ago was taboo to even talk about. You didn't talk about it. It was like they pushed them off to the side and, oh, baby, just pray on it. Pray. You can be in prayer, baby, but they need more than that.
Yeah, what I never understood is why more churches don't have bereavement counseling, support groups, loss of a child ministry. I mean, that's pain. That's one of the most painful things parents have to go through, but there's no support group for that. And we just let people deal with it on their own. And there's so many in our church that parents who have lost their children, a child. And it's like, why don't people come together and somehow try to get a support group? I mean, that's the first thing Rick Warren did when he lost his son. He didn't pay attention to the mental illness in youth. And when that happened, they readily put together support ministries to deal with that type of loss, because it can be devastating. And we just we just act like it never happens and keep moving.
And especially in death, like a lot of, like Pastor said, some people have lost their children, they've lost their husband, and that's rough. That right there alone can put you into depression. I just got finished having a Zoom talk with one of my best friends that lost her husband that I told y'all about. And she said it's really rough. It's really a rough time for her. Because her husband passed away, and anything can trigger her. It can be a TV show that comes on. It can be the smell of somebody's of the cologne that he used to wear. It could be riding past a barber shop because she knew that he used to go to the barbers all the time, and it's rough for her. And what does a person supposed to do? And I told her maybe you should talk to somebody. She said, "Nah, I'm not gonna talk to nobody. I'll get over it one day." But you may never get over that. It's just something that you may never get over, but you need to learn how to deal with it. Some people, when their spouses die, they want to die as well. They want to go too so that they can be together in the afterlife.
And if one of you may remember, I can't remember that he was a Maryland basketball player, was about to got drafted by the Boston Celtics, and he died from a drug overdose before he ever played for Boston. He's from Maryland, and his mom also. So she lost him, and then she lost her next son who got shot. And the thing that she talks about that saved her life literally is that she was able to get with support groups and then become a spokesperson for that particular ministry, and it has strengthened her, and she would have never made it, never kept her sanity. I can't remember the basketball player's name. If someone knows who I'm talking about, tell me.
Y'all Google it.
Lynn Bias.
I was going to say, y'all better get to Googling.
And his mother, Lynn Bias, died, and he was a major superstar, drafted by the first round choice, drafted by the Boston Celtics, never played for them, died with a cocaine overdose, etc. And then she loses her next son. Someone shot him, and she thanked God for the ministries that were in place, the support groups that held her up. And if it wasn't for those support groups, she don't know what she would have become. So we need support groups, and that's ministry. That's what ministry is. But we're not. We got to figure out a way to how to equip people who have the heart to do it and want to learn how to do it and get it done. Or we just got to keep referring people to places where they can get the help they need, professional help they need.
Reverend Phillips said we can have it, but people need to be trained.
That's right.
And that's true, because you don't want people to just say crazy stuff when you're in need, and you have to learn how to say the correct things, mm-hmm. and how to have compassion for that person and how to relate to somebody. If you never lost somebody, it's kind of hard to try to help somebody else through and navigate through those avenues. So that's something that we probably should look into, even at our church, is to have some kind of mental illness support. We just got cancer support ministry up and going. I think they only met like one time so far, and then the COVID-19 virus came around and they couldn't do anything. But it would be good to maybe have somebody. We can do it online.
No, but those type of ministries, it has to be birthed out of someone going through that loss, and they take it upon themselves and say, this is what the Lord is leading me to do, to help others who may go through this, losing a child or losing a spouse, or or it could be a bereavement ministry, but certain areas certain people can't touch. So it's usually birth. Those things are usually birthed out of the person going through that experience, and God leading them to say, "This is what I want to help people through." Or if they go to a support group and they feel like this is what's needed at our church, and they went through it, now they bring it back to us.
Yep, they said the name was Lynn Bias.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn Bias. So those are some of the things that we can do as far as in the church, but we want not just for one specific illness. So it's not a 2-hour class. I'm sure it's a multitude of classes that you need to go through to be able to train and how to talk to people and know the signs, know how things can go. We got schizophrenia, with schizophrenia, I've dealt with some of them some of the people that have schizophrenia at my job. And when you get escalated, they get escalated as well. But you always have to talk real mellow and low to them because they will flip out on you for sure, for sure. And then depression, people, even during this COVID-19, people are depressed, really depressed. Like they can't, anytime you can't do what you want to do, but that's nowhere compared to someone losing a child. And you don't know how those things affect you in your everyday living when you lose someone like a child or a mother that was dear to you or a father that was or any relative that was dear to you. It's hard.
Now, Sister Wisdom had asked, how can you talk to somebody if you see that they may need help, and how do you approach them? Part of the thing that we would need to do as a church, piggybacking off what Reverend Phillips had said about training, we probably can get training, have professionals come and train those who are interested in identifying the signs of depression or bipolar, mental health issues. There are signals, but we got to be aware of them. And then once we're trained and equipped and can start identifying those things effectively, you have to have at least a decent relationship with the person. I wouldn't try to tell somebody they need help and don't know them too well. So I think it's those who are closest to the persons will be the best people to talk to the person about it if they can recognize it, because it doesn't make any sense. You think you recognize something, we could be all wrong. So we would need to, one, get equipped and trained by professionals to how do we identify things like bipolar, what is it? PTSD or schizophrenia or any of those things that have cause persons to become depressed and things of that nature. Now we go through a training through our when you go through seminary, but it's not in depth, but they give you enough books to read, but we're still not professional at it. That's just but we will need a ministry of a group of people who are willing to try to, who are sincere about it, get the training, and then we could talk to people. Other than that, we will just have to some people to a resource and let them get their help.
Reverend Seward says, I am a few classes from finishing my certification as a certified life coach minister, which is someone who mentors, advises, encourages, etc. Prayerfully, we can put that to use. That would be good.
Yeah, but it's still not dealing specifically with mental health. People who are suffering from it. But I mean,
that's a start.
Yeah.
But I think you would probably have to get into it a little bit more deeper on the illness side of it, on the mental illness side. But let us know if that's some of the classes that you're taking, because that would be, awesome to Beulah. That would be really good. Reverend Phillips said you have to be trusted too and can't put their business out there. Scriptures need to support what we say too. That's true. And us in our churches, confidentiality is key. Confidentiality and trust is definitely key. Sister Sample said, yes, it is, Michelle, talking to Reverend Phillips, and that how you have to be trusted and can't put people's business. People get excited when they got some news and they on the prayer line praying about it, and you can't do something like that. You have to keep that in-house, private, and only you and the person is talking about it. So that's important. Sister Andrea says, I am having a hard time helping my friend who lost her 11-year-old daughter. I am so worried.
All right, so find resources that you can direct her to.
Pastor said, find some resources that you might direct her to in that area.
like a
But
bereavement group or ministry, or like they got them. They got them out there and find out. And you're in the hospital, you can find out counselors. They can give you some referrals to help her.
Charles Lewis said, I talked to a person that's been through what I've been through and know what you're feeling inside. That really helps.
Mhm.
That's true. That helps out a whole lot. Because, like I said, if you never lost a child or someone close to you, you don't know what that feels like. And every day is a different day. You can wake up feeling great one day and down the next day, and you don't even know why. But it affects our everyday life. It affects how we interact with other people in our families. Let's just say you have other children and now you're absent from them because of what happened to another child, and so you're absent from that, and that's not fair to the other children. If you have other small children or things like that. Randy said Mrs. Rock used to have a list of services given through DSS. DSS does have some services, but they're not as in detail as it should be. They're really old. Somebody needs to probably update it because I looked today myself. Sister Lindsay said, "Yes, so right, exactly." Reverend Stewart said, "I also have over 20 years of experience working with special education, which deals with some of these mental illnesses." I think we have a couple of our members that deals in special education. I think Sister Dale does. I know Sister Tammy does. Reverend Phillips does. I think all of them have it as well. So we have an eclectic group for sure. Sister Lindsay said, "True, you never know. You just never know." And Reverend Phillips said, "You can't preach and teach what you have not experienced yourself." Now, how many of y'all feel like it needs to be talked about more in the church? Because that was one of the main things, is that the people don't talk about it in the church. We don't talk about it. We just push it off to the side. We need to talk about it. We need to have a conversation about it. Somebody, one of the things that I read said maybe the pastor needs to do a sermon on it or something like that. What do y'all think about that? To include, to talk about it. Brother Clark says psychiatric emergencies are a part of paramedic training, but it's only an introduction. Focusing on treating on extreme agitation in cases of suicide in individuals who may be in violent episodes. There was a story, what was his name? Jared Wilson. He was the pastor. I pulled up the information. He was a mega church pastor in California, Harvest Christian Fellowship. And he actually taught about mental health. He talked about it. He taught others about mental health. And his wife and him had a mental health ministry that was thriving really well. Their church had over 15,000 people. And after one of the ministry meetings, he just couldn't take it no more. And he went home and committed suicide. And he didn't even know. No one knew how he was feeling. And he kept saying to his wife, "I'm not doing too good." And she just was like brushing it off. "You're going to be okay. You're going to be all right." And lo and behold, he wasn't all right and he killed himself. He committed suicide. And a lot of pastors, believe it or not, commit suicide. They have a high percentage of suicide. They're trying to help other people. Or what do you think about that?
No, well, it said the highest pressure, the most stressful careers in this order: doctors, police officers, pastors. So it's a stressful, and most people don't realize that pastors have that much stress, but because they don't realize how many people come with us with issues, they don't realize all that we have to do. They just think we prepare Sunday to preach on Sunday and Bible study on Wednesday, not knowing that people are calling all the time, always bringing their stuff and dumping it on us. And then when they tell us, then like it's over. But we carry that because we love you. You're our members. We care about your situation. So it's like it's a stressful career. So you have to take time out. You have to make sure you have a good balance. So there's many pastors that walk away from pastoring every day. Thousands of pastors retire every day, walk away. They can't do it, go to a different career, and some just don't do it and end up killing themselves.
We talk about that time we was at the conference in Virginia about Pastor.
We're in Virginia.
Oh yeah.
we're at the Hamptons Ministers Conference. One of the guest speakers talked about his life and how he was pastoring a mega church, and found himself leaving the church after ministry, after a meeting, and was in the car and thought he was about to die, have a heart attack, and just like prayed, Lord, don't let me die like this. And then the Lord ended up allowing him to make it home, and he went to the hospital, and they said that he had a heart attack, and then he found out he was under so much stress that he was going to walk away from the Christian ministry, pastoral ministry. And if it wasn't for him going through finding out that he was under the stress and didn't realize how stressful he was, then started taking time out for himself, getting himself better. And basically he also thought about killing himself as well. So he really I'm trying to remember the pastor's name, but he really believes in pastors making sure that their mental stability, you got to watch that like you watch your spiritual development, watch over your mental capacity. It doesn't push you to the edge. But it was a lot more to it that he told about it. But the main point was he was almost at the point of committing suicide and was going to walk away from his church, was stressed out, and he did some things to get his life back in order and focus on God.
Reverend Phillips said, was he a dictator or a delegator?
I don't know.
I don't think he was either. He actually is the pastor of my cousin in Chester, Pennsylvania. I just can't think of his name right now, but excellent pastor. But he actually was taking medicine for a mild depression part of it. But then it just got so out of control for him that he felt inside of his head, in his mind, that he needed more help than what was being given to him. And so good thing for him is that he did something about it. And a lot of us, if we have something like that, we just chuck it off as we're just not having a good day. But some people are having many bad days in a row without a good day. Yes, we do have good days. Yes, we do have bad days. But some people are having bad days every day. And that's not good. And even for addiction, I've learned that living in a rural area, I go to Food Lion sometimes in the morning, and the first thing people are doing on a Friday morning is getting their beer and liquor and all that kind of stuff for the weekend, because they just know they are going to do it. They're going to self-medicate whatever problems they got. They drinking them away, and that's not good. And we have a lot of alcohol addiction going on in the families that we just turn our head away from it. Oh, that's how such and such is, or that's how they are. They drink all the time. But then along with that addiction comes that hitting and beating and treating your spouse wrong. Pastor said that I went on to a whole new subject. He said, went on to a whole new subject, but I'm talking about the alcohol addiction part of it. And that we really need to get that under control as well. And we have a lot of alcohol addiction in our churches. Point blank, period. There's a lot of alcohol addiction, and that is a mental illness, because anytime you think you need a bottle or anything to cope, that's not good either. So we need to even have some kind of ministries about that as well. Anxiety is something that we don't talk about. People get real anxious. Their anxiety, especially our young people now, they get anxiety because of social media. They don't get a lot of likes right away. They get anxiety. If they put something out there and none of the people are talking about it or thinking that they're boring or something, they get anxiety about it and don't want to deal with different things. And, our young people can be mean to each other if they want to. And then you're adding social media onto it as well. Reverend Phillips said it's not just in rural areas. You're right about that. It's in urban areas. It's in rural areas. I'm just talking about the rural areas because I see it a lot in the mornings if I go to Food Lion in the morning. But yes, at least in the urban areas, they go on every day.
And let me give you some scriptures, because you never know if you get in touch with somebody that needs help. You might have to turn them to some encouraging scriptures that'll get them off of their depression or the mood, whatever they're going through. There's a bunch, so I'm going to read them slowly, but I want to read this one. I like this one. Ephesians chapter 1, verse 3. It says, "Praise be to God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who has blessed us in the heavenly realms with every spiritual blessing in Christ." And a lot of people, when they are hopeless, they got to realize that God has given us every blessing that we need, every spiritual blessing that we need in Christ to survive, to make it, to overcome. So don't give up. So that's just one of the scriptures, but I'm going to give you a few. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 12. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 12. Then Romans chapter 6.
Slow down, because I got to write it.
I thought it was slow. All right. I'm going to say
See,
it again.
Reverend C was just on Ephesians.
Ephesians was Ephesians chapter 1, verse 3. Ephesians chapter 1, verse 3. Then Timothy, 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 12. Then you have Romans chapter 6, verses 10 and 11. That's the one he said, "I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly," right? 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17. I believe that's the one that says we walk by faith and not by sight. Romans chapter 6, verses 10 and 11. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17. Ephesians chapter 1. I gave you that one. That's 3. And then Ephesians chapter 2, verse 14. Ephesians chapter 2.
So how many scriptures was that altogether?
1, 2, 3, 4. And then then 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 18. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 18. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have a few more, but I wanted to get it in. We'll have time. I'll give you a few more later.
So did y'all get all those scriptures? Because he didn't give y'all much time in between to write that down. Reverend Seward is putting it in our chat.
And John 10:10 is one of you. I come that you might have life, have more abundantly. John chapter 6, verse 37, and then John chapter 10, verse 10, and then John 16, verse 27. All right, John chapter 6, verse 37, John chapter 10, verse 10, John chapter 16, verse 27.
Sister Dell said she got it.
All right.
She got it. She wrote it all down.
There's a few more, but we'll wait.
Well, you better get it out now while they ready.
All right. The Romans 8:28. Y'all should know that one. That's a very good one. Romans 8:28. Philippians chapter 2. I can't read my own writing.
That's bad, y'all. That's old. He getting old.
Verse 3. Philippians chapter 2, verse 3. Someone look that up for me. I might have to look that up myself. I'm not sure.
Which one?
Philippians chapter 2, verse 3.
Philippians 2,
And
3.
then Colossians chapter 1, verse 27. And then Hebrews chapter 4, verse 17. Oh, shucks. I'm going to make sure on that one. Hebrews chapter 4.
If you didn't doodle on your paper, he could read it. He's not reading.
Chapter 4, verse, I want to say 11, but wait a minute. Let us therefore make effort to enter the rest, so that no one will perish by following the example. All right, yeah, chapter 11, verse, Hebrews chapter 4, verse 11. See what 17 says.
Reverend Seward is putting all of the scriptures down in our chat.
And then First John chapter 5, verse 3. That should be it. That's enough for y'all to do some research on how to, if you find someone who is struggling with depression or struggling with their purpose, struggling with confidence, struggling with hope, these would be some scriptures.
Brother Clark says, start from the top, Pastor. See, I told you.
Reverend Seward is putting it up there, so click on those to share. Reverend, we're going to click on them. What were you doing, Trustee Clark?
He was getting his pen and pencil.
You just got it? All right, no worries. We're going to put them up there. She's going to click on it. You're going to see each. You're going to share them.
John 16:27. Brother Clark said, yes, I got it too. Okay, you got it. Romans 8:28. Colossians 1:27. Colossians. Hebrews 4:17. Which one was a good one? Hebrews?
Go ahead.
Romans 8:28. My favorite is, that's what Sister Chu said. My favorite. We got Hebrews 4:11. And don't forget, if you're missing it in the chat, you can always replay the Let's Talk Tuesday, and you can pick it up there as well. But Reverend C was doing a great job. And before I forget, I want to thank her for everything that she's doing. She's my right-hand person. She's been helping me get everything together and make sure that the chats is all up and running right, and inserting all of the key points and everything, because I can't do that as well. So she's doing a fabulous job, and I want to thank you for that. Reverend Phillips said you can look at this episode later and write it. That's right. That's what I was just saying. You can look at it a little bit later. Sister Tammy said, got them. She got them. She got it all. So hopefully, our conversation tonight kind of helped us get together on what we maybe could do in our own churches. We're all from different churches and everything, but it's putting a seed out there to say, you know what? Maybe we should talk about mental illness. Let's talk about people in depression and people who have lost their children and different loved ones, husbands, wives, spouses, And we have eating disorders. This one of the mental illnesses that is just not a young person's age. We have older people that have eating disorders that we need to talk about. But the main thing that we want to take away from tonight is that we can't shun them. We can't push them off to the side and just say, hey, baby, let's pray about it. That's what we don't want to do.
And a correction, I got Philippians chapter 2, verse 3 is chapter 2, verse 13. I don't know how I got that, but it's verse 13, not 3.
What is it?
Philippians chapter 2, verse 13.
Philippians 2:13. That's
For
a
it is God
correction.
who works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill his good purpose. All right.
So that's the main thing that we want to take away, like I said, from tonight, is that we want to have an open conversation. We don't want to run the other direction from it. We want to make people comfortable. We, like the boy who went into the church in South Carolina, he had a mental illness. He went in there to shoot people. That was a mental illness. But we want to not go on that level of it, but we want to make sure that we have some resources. I'm going to check with the Department of Social Services tomorrow to see if anybody has an updated list, not an old list, an updated list. Brother Albert Clark said venting is a form of treatment. Venting, talking about it, talking with someone that you trust is key. Someone that's not going to spread your business out there. Someone that's going to tell you the truth, because some people will listen to what you say and agree with everything instead of telling you the truth. So they need to do that as well. Sister Lindsay said, thank you for Tuesday at 7 p.m. Thank you for listening, Sister Lindsay. We love you. We thank you that you're a part of us, even though you're in Philadelphia. This is a wonderful thing, technology, to be able to fellowship with one another and have conversations like this. So we thank you. Reverend Phillips said, thanks for all the scriptures that can help us, Pastor Lee and Reverend Ellen Seward. Thank you. Pastor always wants to back everything up with scripture, but you have to do your part and do the research. And we'll come back next week and talk about what y'all found, just shortly about what y'all found out about it. It's things to make us talk. Sister Andrea said, thanks, Reverend Seward, and for yesterday. Amen. Reverend Phillips said, racism is a mental illness too. Yes.
And we're affected by it.
We are definitely affected.
Mentally.
Yes.
In every way. All right. Thanks for getting on, everybody. We love you. Have a wonderful night. Be safe. If you're traveling this weekend for the holiday, going away.
Oh, this is the weekend, isn't it?
Not this weekend, but
is it this weekend?
July going into it. Yeah. So be safe if you're traveling over the holiday. Don't go to rest stops if you don't have to. If you do, be extra cautious. They say that's a breeding ground for COVID-19 are the rest stops. So make sure you wear gloves and you go in with gloves, throw the gloves away, sanitize your hands, keep your mask on. Be safe, everyone. Love you, love you, love you.
Oh, Sister Andrea said, enjoy Greenleaf tonight. You know I'm going to sign on to it. Yes, Greenleaf is back.
Thanks for getting on, everyone.
Thanks for getting on, everybody. Love you, Sister Pat, Sister Tangi, Sister Dale, Sister Robin. Jaquetta was on as well.
Jaquetta, hello.
Sister Sylvia, good night, everybody. Brother Clark, James Brown, my brother, everybody. Thank you for joining us for one more week. We will see you again next Tuesday at 7 p.m. There ain't no holiday. Monday is the holiday. I'm coming on.
But anyway,
I'm coming on. I might be by myself, but I'm coming on Tuesday. I don't know. He ain't going nowhere. He might as well come on with us too. Thanks, everybody. See you. Bye-bye. Have a good night. Love you.